Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're coding something fun and personal, your own Spotify mood playlist generator using Python. You'll learn how to use sentiment analysis to figure out your mood from what you type and then match that mood to a playlist on Spotify. We're going to use tools for mood detection and ones to connect with Spotify's API, all inside a clean Python script. Just type in how you're feeling, hit enter, and instantly you'll get a vibe curated playlist. So let's get started. So let's go ahead and import all the modules we need for this project. The first one is TextBlob. Import TextBlob. We're importing this for sentiment analysis in order to determine mood from the text. Sentiment analysis is a huge part of this project. The next one, import web browser. We're opening or importing this to open Spotify playlist links in the user's default browser. And then we'll say import Spotify. So it's a Spotify. It's a P instead of an F. So this is actually a Python library for accessing the Spotify web API. Then we'll say spotify.outh to import Spotify client credentials. Okay, so this is for app-only authentication to access Spotify data. And finally, random. Import random. This is to randomly select one playlist from the search results. Okay, so now what I need you guys to do is go to the description of this video. There I've pasted a link for you guys that's like developer.spotify.com. Okay, and once you go there, it should open to, well, not this because you probably don't have an account yet, but you need to create an account and also create an app. Okay, so here you're going to set the app name. I've already made one if you saw before, but just call it, I'm calling a Spotify mood playlist generator. You can add a description. It does not matter what description you give. You can just say Python. It really doesn't matter unless you're actually publishing this app. Website not required, skip that. Redirect URLs, just give anything you want. This is my YouTube link, but it does not matter what URL you give. And then this whole box, you can skip it and just click I understand and agree and click save. Okay, and once you do that, it should open your dashboard and you can see here that that app should be created. So there it is. And once I click on that, you can see this information. It's called client ID. Okay, so you actually will be needing this client ID for the project, and you need your client secret. It should be there once you click on view client secret right there. So every app you create, it's going to have a different ID and secret. So this is what you will be needing to actually finish this project, and that's what we need to do next. So go ahead, pause this video and do that right now. Alright, so now that you've gotten your client ID and client secret, it is now time to put it in our code. So let's go ahead and create these two variables, Spotify client ID, and I'll just put a set of double quotes there, and then we'll say Spotify client secret. Again, set it to double quotes. So you're just going to copy and paste it right into here. There's my client ID, and there's my client secret. So now we are done adding our Spotify developer credentials into our code. So let's go ahead and start our first function, which will be for mood detection. So we can call it detect mood. And here I'll have the parameter as text, okay? Now I'm gonna create a variable called blob, and I'll set it equal to text blob, and have that same text parameter inside. And I'm also going to create a polarity variable and set it equal to blob.sentiment.polarity. Okay, so polarity is going to be a very big part of this project, similar to the previous video that I posted on my channel, which is the mood journal. So both of these projects are all about sentiment analysis and the polarity of the sentiment. So let's go ahead and add a if statement into this. So if polarity is greater than 0.5, then we're going to return happy. Okay, that's going to be the mood. Elif polarity is greater than 0, we will return chill, okay? Elif again, polarity is greater than, actually no, it'll be equal to 0. Then we will say return neutral. If I could spell it. Okay, there we go. Elif, polarity is greater than negative 0.5. We will return sad. And then finally, else, return angry. All right, so now we're done with that if statement. So let's go ahead and create a list, and I'm going to call it mood underscore keywords, okay? With the curly bracket. So here, we're basically doing like a mood to playlist keyword mapping. So I'm going to use all these moods that I created up here. Happy, chill, neutral, sad, angry, and I'll use it as the keywords in this list. So let's go ahead and use that first one, which is happy. And you're gonna have a square set of square brackets here. And what I want you to do is basically create a list of some keywords. So these are like playlist names that would match the mood happy. So an example is like happy vibes. That's an example of a playlist name. Also, summer hits is a popular one, and feel good. Okay, these are all Spotify playlist names. The next one, chill. That was our next mood that we added. And here again, the set of square brackets. Very popular one is the lo-fi beats. We'll say calm and relax, okay? So these are some other playlist names. The next one was neutral. So let's set one for this. Here we'll have mellow, in the double quote, sorry. Mellow, easy listening. I do know that there is, I forgot to comment, that's why. And last one, we can say background music. Then again, make sure to put in the comma. And then we'll say the next emotion, which was sad. Here we'll say sad songs, emotional. What else? We could do breakup songs. And then again, comma, last one, angry. Here, let's say rage and rock workout. And we could do hardcore. Okay. So I had taken a note of like all the playlist names in Spotify that would be able to match these, 5 main broad moods that we have. So now that we're done with that, we can go ahead and create another function called get playlist. And here let's put mood as the parameter. So this is the basically Spotify search and playlist display function. Now what we want to do is authenticate with Spotify. I'm just going to create a variable, and here I'll say Spotify. Make sure you're typing all that right. Auth manager is equal to Spotify client credentials. And then we'll have an open parentheses here. Click enter, and we're going to say client underscore ID is equal to the Spotify client ID, comma, client secret is equal to Spotify client secret. So those are the variables that we created above here, right? So it's already paired with your client ID and the secret. So we're just, again, using it here and setting it to those variables. And then we'll get out of this function, and we're done with the get playlist function. Awesome. Now, let's go ahead, create a variable. We'll say keywords is equal to mood underscore keywords dot get, and then here we'll say mood, and in square brackets, double quotes, mood, okay? So we're getting a list of the keywords associated with the mood from the mood keywords dictionary, and if the mood isn't found, it'll default to a generic list containing the word mood, okay? Next, let's create a for loop. For query in keywords, This is going to loop through each keyword in the list of mood-related keywords. Okay, that's what that is doing. Next, we'll say results is equal to sp.search. And here we'll say q is equal to query, comma, type is equal to playlist. And then we'll say that the limit is equal to 5. So let me explain what this is. It searches Spotify for the playlist that match the current keyword, and then it's going to, what this does, the limit, is it's limiting the search results to 5 playlists, all right? That's what that line of code is doing. Then we'll say playlist is equal to results.get, and here we'll say playlists again, and we'll type in a set of square brackets and close the parentheses, dot get items, and then a set of square brackets. So what this line of code is doing is it's extracting the list of playlist items from the search results. That is all. It's just extracting the items from the search results. So it basically goes with this line of code, right? Because this one is like setting the limit to getting only 5 playlists, and then here we're extracting it. All right, next we'll say valid underscore playlist is equal to, and in square brackets, p for p in playlist, if p and name in p and external URLs in p. Okay, that was a long line of code. All that this is doing, let me simplify it for you, is it's filtering out any invalid or incomplete playlist entries. For example, if there's a missing name or a missing URL, right? It's going to filter that out if it's invalid. So that's what we're doing, and we just called it valid playlist. Next, let's go ahead and create an if statement. If valid playlists, we're using that same variable. What this is doing is it's going to check if there are any valid playlists available. So if there are, we'll have playlist is equal to random.choice valid playlists. So it's going to randomly choose one playlist from the list of valid playlists that we chose. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And then name is equal to playlist in square brackets name. Now we're going to extract the playlist name. All right? Then we'll say URL is equal to playlist external underscore URLs, and in another square bracket we'll say Spotify. So what this is doing is it's extracting the playlist Spotify URL. So let me again go over what this is doing. Actually, let me finish it by saying return name and URL. So what this is doing, it's saying if there are any valid playlists available, we are going to choose one random playlist from the list of valid ones, and then we are going to extract the playlist name, and then we are going to extract the playlist Spotify URL, and then you're returning both the name and the URL. So very simple. Now let's go ahead, click enter to this indentation here, right there, and we'll say return none. So that will take place if nothing was found. Okay, now we are finally done with the get playlist function. That was a very big one. The code looked very complex, but when you really look into it, it's actually not that difficult to understand. It's pretty simple. But now we're done with that one, so let's move on to the next function, which is our main one. Let's go ahead and start by creating a print statement. So we'll say print, and I'm gonna say welcome to the Spotify mood playlist generator. You can, say whatever you would like here. This is what the user is gonna see as soon as they run the program. And then we'll say \n. So it goes to the next line. All right, now I'm gonna create a variable called entry and set equal to input. And here, since we want the user to be able to input something, we're gonna say input. So how are you feeling today, right? And we can just say write it out. So here, if I do \n, the user will be able to type in their entry, and I'm also gonna have a greater than sign here and put in a space. So they have some nice space to write out their entry. So now that we've created that variable, I'm gonna create another one called mood and have detect mood with entry as the parameter. And I'll say another print function, and here I'll say \n, detected mood, and then we'll put that mood here by using the mood variable. So it'll get it from this one, detect mood with the entry, right? And then we'll say mood dot capitalize, just in case you guys didn't capitalize the moods here, so it looks nice and neat when the user runs the program. And then we'll click enter. Now let's use our name and URL, which we created before. And we'll set that equal to get_playlist with mood as the parameter. Now let's go ahead and create an if statement. If name and URL, okay, here we'll have another print function. So f, and then the \n. So we'll say, here's a playlist for your mood. And then we'll just go ahead and call the name. So it'll extract the playlist name and put it right there, so the user knows the name of the playlist. And then we'll say another print function in order to get the URL. So we'll say the double quotes and in curly brackets URL. So it'll extract the URL as well. Now we'll use that module that we imported, the web browser, right? So we'll say web browser.open URL. What this is going to do is it will extract that URL that it got from Spotify, and it will open it using the user's default browser. That's pretty cool. And then we'll exit and say else and say print. So if the computer was not able to find a playlist, this print function will be on the screen. So we'll just say like, sorry, couldn't find the playlist right now. So you can say whatever you would like, but this will be printed if no playlist was found. And I'll just click backspace so there's no indentation left. Name is equal to main. And then we'll just call main. All right, guys, we are done with the code for this project. Let's go ahead and run it and see if it works. Okay, so it said, how are you feeling today? Write it out. Oh, it also has our welcome to the Spotify mood playlist generator line. So let's go ahead and type out how I'm feeling. I'm feeling great. That's all I'm gonna say. Detected mood, happy. Here's a playlist for you, happy vibes only. Look at that emoji, it's awesome. And it gave me the URL, and I'm waiting for it to open it. Okay, so look at that. It opened the playlist, happy vibes only, and there are a bunch of songs in here. But this is amazing, guys. It was able to detect the mood I was feeling and also match it with the playlist in Spotify and open it on its own on my computer in the Spotify app. So we can go ahead and try it out again with another mood and see what playlist it will give me. So I can go ahead and say, not good, and I'm bored and stressed. Let's go ahead and see if it'll be able to detect the mood. Okay, so it said sad, here's a playlist for your mood, sad playlist for crying. So let's go ahead and see how this playlist looks like. All right, so it has a lot of songs in this playlist, and that's great. It matched the mood that my entry that I put in. So we can now obviously see that this project or program works. So good job, guys. If you want, you can customize your print functions that we have in the main function and maybe put in some fun emojis so that it makes it a little bit more interactive with the user, and makes the output look much better. So I can go ahead and do that really quick and show you guys the final result. Okay, so I put in some cute emojis in here. You can see like the headphones, the link, the music. So let's go ahead and see how much better it'll look like now. Okay, you can see that there's one emoji right there. I'm feeling awesome. So happy. Again, it gave me that same playlist, which is happy vibes only, and it should open it up. But that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to NPStation. If you like this project, make sure to share it with your family and friends so they can code it as well. I'm sure they would love it too. But that's all for today, guys. Keep reading, keep coding, and stay safe.